This is an interesting one. This is a really interesting one. One of the most interesting men in the world has been elected president of Argentina. Javier Milei, Argentina's far-right outsider, wins presidential election. From the BBC, Argentines have elected far-right outsider Javier Milei, age 53, as their new president. With almost all votes counted, Mr. Milei had won close to... All right, go ahead, take it down. I need a clean thing of this for the clip. All right, reset. With almost all the votes counted, Mr. Milei had won close to 56% in the decisive runoff, ahead of his left-wing rival, Sergio Massa, with 44%. The radical newcomer's victory has been described as a political earthquake. It has been welcomed by like-minded politicians such as U.S. ex-President Donald Trump, who said Mr. Milei would make Argentina great again. Brazil's former leader, Jair Bolsonaro, said that hope would shine again in South America. Sometimes dubbed El Loco, the bad man, by his critics. We'll see why. Mr. Milei has promised drastic changes, which include ditching the local currency, the peso, for the U.S. dollar, and blowing up the central bank in order to prevent it from printing more money, which he argues is driving inflation. He has also proposed
that from the Joker.
Yeah, exactly. He has also proposed cutting welfare payments and slashing bureaucracy by closing the ministries of culture, women, health, and education, among others. In a round of media interviews following his election win, he said he would privatize Argentina's state energy company, YPF, and the country's public broadcasters. Everything that can be put into the hands of the private sector will be in the hands of the private sector, he said. However, Mr. Milei added that before YPF could be privatized, it would have to be rebuilt. He did not say how long that process could take. The president-elect also announced that public works would be cut down to zero and that those already in progress would be put out to tender so that there would be no more state spending. On social issues, he wants to loosen gun laws, abolish abortion, which was legalized as recently as 2020, and allow the sale and purchase of human organs. Well, that's a libertarian who means what he says. I'll give him that. If I want to trade you a spleen for a kidney, why should the government get involved? That's between us.
My esophagus, my choice.
My esophagus, my choice. Yeah. Mr. Milei's victory comes amid a deep economic crisis, which has seen annual inflation rise to 143% and 40% of Argentines living in poverty. While opinion polls conducted before the election had given Mr. Milei a slight lead over Mr. Massa, the wide margin of his win by more than 11%, according to provisional results, has surprised many. Mr. Massa, who was the economy minister in the outgoing left-wing government, see, that hamstrung him because of the 143% inflation, quickly conceded defeat, saying that obviously the results are not what we had hoped for. Analysts said Mr. Milei's aggressive style and his promise to do away with the political caste, which he blames for the country's ills, appealed to voters who were fed up with Argentina's established parties. This model of decadence has come to an end. There is no turning back, he told his supporters in his victory speech, promising a new era for Argentina. Okay, so in this guy, you have a libertarian, you have a right-wing populist type, but you don't have the sort of isolationist nationalist tendencies. He's pro-Ukraine, he's pro-Israel, he wants to dollarize, not de-dollarize. So, I won't pretend to be an expert in Argentinian politics, but this seems like kind of the worst of all worlds, right? He seems like pro-war, pro-New World Order, anti-social safety net, anti-environment, pro-organ selling,
pro-organ harvesting,
anti-abortion. Yeah, it seems like quite the head job that they've saddled themselves with down there. Although we can't be the liberal scolds after the 2016 election, right? We can't play the deplorable card. This is what happens when inflation gets to a point where people feel like they have nothing to lose by turning over the keys to a guy like this.
That's it. The same thing is happening here. Donald Trump is only marginally more popular than Joe Biden is, if you frame it that way. Do you like Donald Trump? You had that even when he got elected in 2016. I can't remember what the exact numbers were, but an incredible number of people who voted for Donald Trump did not like him in exit polls. Same thing. You have all of these young people who voted for this guy said, yeah, I don't like him. I don't agree with him, but what the hell? What do I have to lose? When you put people in a position where they feel like they have nothing to lose, well, sure. They already know what the status quo is. It's not working for them. Let's try the other one. And I think I think there's a message in this for the left, both in America and in Argentina. If your political project, so-called, doesn't deliver for anybody, eventually they're going to look to the other team for answers and solutions. I think you could have a conservative wave in the making in our own country. If they go and they elect a Republican and the economy gets dramatically better, how do you think Gen Z is going to vote after that?
Right.
Think they're going to be Democrats? I don't think so.
Well, these are challenges that the left faces very often. And, a lot of these challenges are of their own making when they overreach on social issues and sort of cultural issues that alienate, mainstream sort of normie voters. But a lot of it is that money and power tends to coalesce against the left when it does get that taste of power. So, if Bernie Sanders were elected president in 2016, what would have happened? Both the Democrats and the Republicans would have teamed up to tank his presidency and delegitimize the left moving forward. Right. Now, this guy is going to have a similar type problem. Even though he's right-wing, he's basically a third-party candidate. He has no allies in the legislative branch, whatever they call it there. So it's going to be very hard for him to implement a lot of the things that he's talking about, but he is going to mobilize as much support along the way, and he is quite good at doing that. He has a certain charisma, if you will, just like Trump, sort of an anti-charisma charisma, very bawdy, loud, vulgar personality, who had obviously a real base. I mean, he won this election in a landslide, 56-44. That's not even close.
Yeah, you're seeing all of these kind of right-wing populists who, in many ways, they've stolen the left's act of being outrageous, of being anti-authoritarian, of calling out the powerful, right? That's supposed to be our act. And they stole it. And look, that's a popular stance to take. And as you point out, it's easier for them to get away with it from the right because it doesn't really threaten anybody, especially this guy. He's perfect. He's made it in a lab. He's pro-war, wants to go on the dollar. Nobody cares who sells their organs. Nobody's going to care about that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right? They'll look the other way on a kidney sale here
the
and
organ market. On Javier's house of kidneys in the center of Argentina.
Exactly.
Please clap.